We spend our days caught in the friction of human problems. You finish a long shift at the office, come home exhausted, and your entire reality shrinks down to the size of your commute and your living room. But carrying a telescope out to the terrace offers a way out. It is a machine designed to pull the mind away from earthly exhaustion and throw it into the quiet dark. On nights when the sky is clear, you can trace the light of distant systems. One specific point of interest is Kepler K2-18b, an exoplanet orbiting a star over 100 light-years from Earth. You can stare at that tiny speck for an hour and wonder what the tactile experience of actually standing on that alien surface would feel like. Eventually, the exhaustion wins. You go downstairs, collapse onto your bed, and let your senses detach as you drift into sleep. The human mind uses the incomprehensible scale of deep space to its advantage. By trying to grasp a void that spans trillions of miles, the mundane stresses of our daily lives finally feel small enough to ignore. But then you wake up. The air is cold. It smells damp, like salt and deep water. You find your bedroom is gone. You are sitting alone inside a small wooden boat, bobbing on a dark, restless ocean. You scan the horizon in every direction. There is no land, no islands, no shallow reefs, just water stretching to the edge of the world. Looking up offers no comfort. The constellations scattered across the night sky form entirely unfamiliar shapes, proving that you are no longer anywhere near home. Then an enormous, burning orange star emerges from the dark, hanging low above the water. You recognize the stellar profile of Kepler K2-18b. Your heart begins to race. The sheer physical impossibility of traversing 100 light-years in your sleep hits you with visceral panic. On Earth, our sense of safety is tethered to geography, continents, coastlines, and familiar stars. Strip away every reference point, and you are left to absorb the weight of total planetary isolation. The ocean itself feels alive, forming massive swells that rise like moving mountains, lifting your tiny wooden boat dozens of meters into the cold air before dropping it back into the trough. Then a sound cuts through the crash of the waves. It originates deep beneath the water, a low, haunting call. It has the cadence of a whale, but it resonates at a frequency so deep that it physically vibrates the wood. You lean over the edge and stare down into absolute black. No matter how hard your eyes try to adjust, the water remains entirely opaque, hiding whatever just made that sound. A second call echoes upward, much closer this time. The surface of the water begins to churn and shift, driven by something enormous displacing volume directly below you. On land, we can see a predator coming from a distance, but here, the ocean is a three-dimensional dark where something massive can move directly beneath you without ever entering your field of vision. A shadow gradually materializes out of the depths. It is so broad and solid that for a split second, your brain registers it as an island rising from the seafloor. Then, the island moves. The shape stretches over thousands of meters in length, dwarfing any organism recorded on Earth. The ocean around your boat bulges upward, displaced by the sheer mass of the entity as it swims closer to the surface. Suddenly, an eye opens beneath the water, a single glowing pupil, emitting enough light to reveal that this eye alone is larger than the boat you are sitting in. The gaze locks directly onto your position. All ambiguity vanishes. This colossal organism is completely aware that you are floating right above it. The haunting call returns, deafeningly loud. The boat shakes violently as the water crests higher, and the massive, glowing eye rushes straight toward the surface. In that moment, the role of the observer is reversed. You aren't looking through a lens at a distant point of light anymore. You are a microscopic speck being watched by something that has existed in the dark long before you arrived. You suddenly wake up. The endless ocean vanishes, replaced instantly by the dark, still silence of your bedroom. Your body is still reacting to the threat. You are covered in cold sweat, your lungs pulling in shallow breaths, and your heart pounding against your ribs. Slowly, your pulse begins to settle. The rational part of your brain re-engages, flooding you with the relief that the ocean, the star, and the creature were nothing more than a nightmare. You step out of bed and look out the window, seeking the grounding familiarity of your own neighborhood. And that is when you see your telescope out on the terrace. It hasn't moved. It is still perfectly locked onto the exact coordinates of Kepler K2-18b. The specific nightmare is a fabrication of the mind, but the objective reality of those alien worlds is an astronomical certainty. The universe is filled with oceans we cannot see, holding physical realities far larger than our comprehension, leaving the true horror waiting just on the other side of the lens.